demonstrations now. Now we'll have demonstrations, then we'll have testimonials, then we'll have closing remarks, and by magic, we will almost finish on time, okay? So, no, honest. So, for demonstrations, I'm sorry. There are new tools available for bridging the gap. They can be used now. They are the product of these three wonderful projects. And we will start with Rebecca. Where is Rebecca? From Indimo. The floor is yours.
Hello again. So this will be the second time I explain something to you. As we already hinted earlier, apparently the three projects made some tools. And the best thing about tools is using them for something useful. So before we start with that, we will give a short introduction. We made like lengthy videos explaining everything in detail, but due to time constraints, we will shorten it a little bit. But as was said earlier, at least I don't know for the other projects, the Indimo tools are online in English and will be uploaded in 5 other languages in the coming weeks. So you can access each and every one of them on our website then. Also, to make it inclusive, our partners made sure that you can at least have a look. And the 3 booklets you find on your table are a physical representation or visualization of the Universal Design Manual, the Universal Interface Language, and the guidelines for cybersecurity and privacy. So they're not digital, but at least you know what's in there. So now I think Rebecca will introduce the actual toolbox.
And there is a video in the background for that. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to show you, following myself, navigate the website and look for the Indimo toolbox on the menu bar over there. We wanted to ensure that every person could choose his or her own way of navigating the toolbox, because the toolbox is composed of 5 different items. We have the 3 manuals, the U, the YAM, the UIL, the CSG manuals that are printed also for you on tables, and we have the online navigable and interactive versions. But you can also decide that you want to start from the Indimo recommendations that are, let's say, the distillate of the work that we've done in pilots, and where all the recommendations can be browsed in your own way, and you can browse by keywords, or you can navigate the SET, the Service Evaluation Tool, which is an online tool. It's an interactive tool that will guide you through questions towards the recommendations, the right recommendations for your service, for the service that you are evaluating, either an existing service or a prototype service. So you have a flowchart here that helps you understand or define or identify the way that you want to navigate the toolbox and the different tools that are in it, and with short explanations. And it was quite slower than I am now, because I wanted to also give you some details about the different tools, but I will skip that because we are a bit out of time. So we will wait for a few seconds. But as you can see, the flowchart is mainly going back to the Indimo recommendations at some point, because what we want you to get is exactly the results of our research done with end users. So the recommendations that came from the different categories of users that we have interviewed, surveyed, and involved in co-creation workshops. Here you have a tool selector. From here you can select the tool that you want to navigate. The 3 above are the manuals. The manuals are intended to give you some information, but also to give you access to templates, to documents, to information, background information, and methodologies that you can use yourself to increase the inclusivity of your services. And you can choose the different languages. Now it has, you can see it's to be added, but at the moment they are currently online already in 6 different languages. So you can also navigate them yourself, also from your mobile phones. And we will not go through the manuals now because you have them printed there. We are out of time, so I wanted to also show you how the different manuals are structured. They have a similar structure, all of them, but we'll skip that and we'll go directly to the navigation of the service evaluation tool. And thanks to VUB for developing it and for all partners for helping us get to this point. Thank you very much.
Just wait a second for next video.
The fact that the cursor has a small red circle associated is extremely useful for people with low vision.
Sorry to interrupt, but my video is playing.
Yes.
So once you have selected which language you want to do your evaluation in, you come to the first part of the tool, which indicates the different steps in there. So we have step 1, which is general information, email address, and login, of course. Also, what kind of stakeholder are you, operator, designer, developer, etc. Followed by the type of service. Then when you go to step 2, which is the first theme, universal design, you will see that there are a lot of topics, which these topics are linked to the general topics from universal design, such as flexibility, equitability, adaptability, etc. And we devised questions for that. Those questions are based mostly on these themes with input from our earlier presented research. This way we have both a theoretical framework that is supported by actual information from in the field. So we have both sides again. So here we have 7 themes for universal design. Then the Save Progress button. If you don't have specific information, you don't have time, or etc., you can save mid-process. Later on, you can start where you ended. So if an evaluation takes 2 hours, that's quite useful. Then after step 2, you have step 3 and 4, which are service features, such as payment, subscription, and assistances offered, such as audiovisual assistance. If you answer all the questions, the Get Result button will light up, but it won't until every question is answered. This to avoid lack of information. What you can do is, of course, add the not applicable I don't know option, and then the number of questions will drop down. So you still answer all the questions, and those that you apply I don't know will be left out. You can do this for many questions, but we advise to limit it because the amount of information necessary to do the evaluation drops. Then, as I said, a saved version. You can look at fully evaluated services, so you get the results immediately, or you can continue with a previously started evaluation. So if you then look at the results, this is what you get. So the service evaluation tool results. This was a tool done by a developer. I think it was Rebecca, and it was a multimodal route planner. First, you have an overall score. This is a percentage, and it gives a first indication. This is just for people who are not very keen on research and are not used to analyzing results, to give them a first impression. Did I do okay or not? A second, more important part is a topic score, which is also first presented in a percentage, again indicating an overall score, also with a guideline that is based on percentiles. Above this, you get very good notes. Lower than this, you get a little bit less commentary. And there is a spider diagram indicating the score for each topic. So it's visualized as well. And then secondary, we have the qualitative results, which are all the recommendations linked to the bad answers you gave. And bad is an answer that is not fully inclusive or accessible. So the recommendations are specifically selected to help you with the problems you or our tool noticed in the service that you selected. This is presented for all 3 main themes. So you can work on specific universal design or specific features you want to address. Also, to make it a little bit more easy to access all your data, you can export it in a PDF. You can even print it, but rather not. And in here, the explanations are a little bit more elaborate. Per recommendation, there is a small description. This is not a full description yet. Those are in the manuals we made, but they are a little bit more elaborate to give you an idea what they are about and what we expect you doing with them. So the structure is, again, very similar to make it a little bit uniform and easy to access. And then if you want to, as Rebecca said, we also have a full recommendations archive or list. So you can select one, there's a code there, and you can look for the full explanation in our manuals. We did this to simplify the visualization and presentation of results here, because otherwise it would be way too much. And for people not used to receiving 30 pages of data and information, we consider this to be a better approach. But of course, full information is important, so in the archive, which is also available as one of the tools, you can find everything with a one-pager description of the recommendation, why it was developed, based on what, and what it is used for. And I think that's the most important things about this tool. So please go online, test it. For me personally, I'm still using it for my research. So if you want to test it and tell me how you liked it, especially policymakers, please contact me. Thank you.
I will take 1 more minute just to detail a bit more what was also the process and the aim of the toolbox development. We applied our own recommendations to the development of the tools. So both the service evaluation tool and the manuals and the recommendations online, we tried to make them as accessible as possible. They're not perfect, but as you can see, the website has some customization options. We want you to navigate the tools in your own way, so you have choices to navigate them in a quick way or to get deep into the contents. We made a usability analysis also on the service evaluation tool during our workshops. So we really hope that you like it, that you enjoy it. And if you don't, there is also a feedback form on the website where you can give us your feedback about the toolbox itself and its accessibility. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, yes. Thank you, Rebecca, Anis. We will go now to Dignity's tool. Elisabeth, Roca, Bosh. Correct. Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be here because that means that we are finishing Dignity, which has been a hard work. But above all, I'm so pleased because it has been a very interesting, a very collaborative environment. And we have produced this toolkit that I'm going to present now. So since the beginning, we had the idea of that this toolkit should be something open access, accessible, interactive, and attractive, nice. But this is easy to write, and sometimes it's difficult to make it feasible and practical. But, well, we managed to do something. This is the methodology that we follow to co-create this toolkit. We got inspired by our approach, our Dignity approach, and we divided our co-creation process in 3 phases. In the framing phase, we did a literature review, and we also collect and review some toolkits. We did a benchmarking. And in order to identify pain points and challenges, and we also elaborated a stakeholder map and did some interviews with different stakeholders. In the bridging phase in our co-creation process, we held a workshop in Leuven last March with all the consortium, and where we also start to co-design and to think together in the prototype, in the architecture of this website. And we also work with the stakeholders. And finally, we are now in the evaluating phase. We haven't finished the tool. We have to do it in the next 2 weeks. But we also held a validation workshop in Barcelona, and we have also a feedback contact in the feedback survey in the website. So to show you this toolkit, I also have a video that shows very quick how it works. It has a sound, okay.
The increasing development of digital mobility solutions is leading to important changes in transport. Digital revolution has great potential to benefit many people, but may exclude others due to a lack of access to technology, a lack of digital skills, or specific mobility requirements. This could lead to greater social inequalities in sustainable urban development. To address this, the Dignity Project developed the Dignity Toolkit, a set of tools that help policymakers and public and private mobility entities to develop more inclusive digital mobility solutions. The tools are organized in a multi-phase process. The process starts with the framing phase. This examines the existing mobility services in the region and develops a detailed understanding of which groups of users are most vulnerable to exclusion from these services. The next step is the bridging phase. This aims to produce inclusive and user-centered solutions that bridge the digital mobility gap. To do this, it uses proven inclusive design and co-creation methodologies. It also offers a scenario-building approach to examine policy in the light of possible future scenarios. Finally, there is the evaluating phase. This analyzes the work done so far to determine whether the proposed solutions are indeed more inclusive. The toolkit is available for free on the Digital Toolkit website, dignity-toolkit.eu. Explore the website to see the range of tools on offer, or try out the decision support tool to identify which tools are most suited to your particular situation and needs. Dignity Toolkit: digital transport in and for society.
So, having seen the video, let me focus a bit more on these two main elements of our toolkit: the wheel on the one hand and the decision support system on the other. So, the dignity approach that we have transformed into this wheel, and a set of 10 tools. Now, okay, that can be accessed through the wheel or through our browser. We have 10 tools. Each tool has one icon and one color. And here in the browser, you could select the phase, framing, bridging, or evaluation. And then, for instance, if you would select the framing, you would have access to the 4 tools that we have in this phase. And then you could choose, for instance, the focus group, and you would access directly to a very extensive description of this methodology. Here, you would access to different type of information, the description of the method, the resources that you need to implement this methodology, for instance, the time, the cost, the stakeholders involved, the type of information, if it's qualitative or quantitative, and the main outcomes that you would get. And also here you will find the supporting files, because within the Dignity we have created a guidelines to adapt these methodologies, which most of them are quite well known, but they have been adapted to the transport sector and the mobility sector. So here you can have all this information and resources related to this methodology. For instance, this is the bridging phase, and you would find here all the information on the inclusive design wheel. And the other element of our website is the decision support tool. For instance, here, imagine that you are a stakeholder, because this website is addressed to key stakeholders, policymakers, practitioners, IT designers, or representative of end users. And for instance, if you want to choose, if you want to use this website and you don't know exactly which tools you have to use, the system, according to your needs and your demands, recommends you a set of tools. So for instance, if you're a stakeholder and you want to have a clear picture of your digital gap in your region, you want to know more about your vulnerable to exclusion groups, etc., you would be guided through the framing phase. In the framing phase, well, I know that you cannot read this, but you will be asked for several aspects. This is a multi-choice selection where you were asked if you want to know more about, for instance, population or vulnerable to exclusion groups, or about the regulatory frameworks, or about the governance system. So once you would have selected several aspects that you want to know more about, you would have your tool selections according to your particular needs. And then the system would guide you to the bridging phase. And there you would have, again, a list of issues. The website is partly working. The decision support system is not still online, but please visit the toolkit, explore it, play with it, and tell us what do you like or not. And of course, your suggestions are more than welcome. And I think that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Now let's go for the trips tool. Where is Cino Repetto? We await you eagerly, with curiosity.
I hope.
Yes.
This is an uncomfortable position in the agenda for me, because at this time it is difficult to find. It is difficult to find still something that can raise the attention of people now. But I will try.
Who is interested in Cino's presentation? Okay, so there you have it. Go ahead.
Okay. No, today we have seen a lot of very stimulating concepts, and the first one that I have appreciated is the figure that was presented by Anka Pasca in his presentation with, you remember, the two balls with the fishes. And this is a metaphor to represent the problem of the accessibility. In all of our projects, our main goal is to bridge the gap. But in TRIPS, we have considered that to bridge the gap, we have to know the gap, to measure the gap. So we have developed this methodology, the Mobility Divide Index, that is proposed as a tool to measure the accessibility gap, taking as a reference point the difference among the possibility, the level of accessibility of people with reduced mobility in comparison with people without a disability. Why we have decided to develop this method, because we have realized that there are already several indexes to measure the accessibility, but all of them have been developed from the point of view of the operators. So they are focused on operational aspects, while we have all become aware, and some today presented us an interesting survey, that the people with disabilities want to be listened, to give their voice, to have their voice listened, and to give their suggestions, and to be involved in the room where decisions are taken. So we think that also the way in which we assess and measure the accessibility should consider their point of view in order to provide the policymakers with the actionable information that can resume and can report the point of view of the end users. So we have developed this composite metrics in order to calculate the level of accessibility of any public transport service. And we have called it Mobility Divide Index. Why composite indicator? Because we know that accessibility is a very complex concept, and deals with a wide number of drivers. Laura Aljaskaute this morning has presented the very long list of accessibility, of gaps of accessibility that we have found while exploring and analyzing the journey cycles with our end users that collaborated with us, of course, in a co-design process in understanding which are the main dimensions of the accessibility gaps. We have grouped into these 6 dimensions all the aspects that can determine a problem of accessibility from the point of view of our end users. This evaluation framework has been set up in order to enable disabled users to communicate their point of view on the different aspects of accessibility, and so to communicate their needs and expectations. And this can become a very valuable information for the transport planners in order to set up the right services and to prioritize their policies and their investment for the improvement of the transport services. These are the 6 dimensions. I think that it is not now necessary to go and in depth on them, because all these aspects have been already discussed and presented to analyze during the presentation of the previous speakers. What we have done is to collect all these drivers into an overall indicator that can help to provide a synthetic measure of the accessibility gap. What we have done, this was already foreseen in our project, but when we used this method to measure the impact of the solutions that have been developed in our 7 pilot cities. But while using this, we received an unexpected request from our users themselves that collaborated in our project. They said, we don't want to have this tool just one time, one shot, to measure during the project the accessibility gap, and then everything will finish. This should be a tool that should be provided to the transport providers in order to have continuously a measure of how our needs are satisfied, and if the transport services is being improved in the correct direction. So we decided to develop a tool, that is what I'm going to present now, that is a platform. We have developed two applications, a mobile app that is already available on the stores, and through which people with a disability can real-time audit provide their information on their experience while they are traveling, and provide information and suggestion in order to improve specific aspects of the transport service. And these information are then elaborated by an algorithm and can be displayed in a public dashboard. So from the qualitative information, we get numbers, indicators that can highlight which are the aspects of accessibility where the gap is currently wider. And this is an information both directly for the transport stakeholder, but in general for all the public that can be interested in knowing this information. As I told you, the mobile app has been developed also with a release accessible for the blind people. It allows to collect answers to elaborate the MDI evaluations, but also it collects directly specific reports on specific problems that have been met by the users. And here you can find the link to download from the stores. The web app is, on the contrary, is an integrated web application that can display in a synthetic way the evaluations on the different aspects of accessibility. You can drill by city, of course, because it is calculated for a specific city, by transport service, or also by kind of disability, and the target users, the public part of this web app is addressed to the public, but there is also okay. Here you can see the dashboard. There is also a public a section that is reserved to the transport operator, through which the people who are traveling can report specific problems with the comments or with the pictures in order to ask an intervention in order to solve the issue that has been reported. Currently, this platform is being tested in our pilot cities and also by other follower cities that are not partner in the project but have been informed of this opportunity and have asked us to take part in the pilot experimentation. But we we have ambitions with for this tool, because we think that this might become an European standard. If widely adopted by the European cities, we could have a measure not of the level of accessibility in specific towns and cities, but also we could measure the state of the transport system all over Europe. And our idea is to promote, to use this as a tool for a future observatory on European observatory on accessibility that might be promoted by European umbrella organizations, associations of transport operators and of people with disabilities. And it could pilot information and also support the transport operators and transport authorities to in the process of improving the accessibility of all of local transports. We have also imagined which could be the services that could be provided by this new body, namely a toolbox of cells that have been already discussed in several occasions with the representative of transport operators. And of course, the observatory might provide the public websites in which the results of the audits in the several European cities might be published, but also the public website could be also the tool where the response and the commitments of the local authorities could be monitored in order to provide a general overview of the transport accessibility at the European level. The two tools are already online. So you can download the app both on the App Store or Google Play, and see the displayed our dashboard at the address that you can see there.
Cino, thank you very much.
Okay.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
So really solid work. Congratulations to all. We will move on to testimonials. We will start with Diogo Martins, who is waiting for us, I think, in Lisbon. Is Diogo there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me right?
We can all hear you and see you. And you can start your testimonial.
Great.
Sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So, thank you for having me. And let's start by explaining what we have done in Lisbon for TRIPS project. So, as Pedro said, I'm Diogo Martins, and I'm local user lead for the TRIPS project in Lisbon. So, I will shortly present the team. Basically, we got together 60 disabled people, and from this users expert group, we managed to actually work together with professionals on the transport sector. It's not just from Carris, which is the TRIPS partner on this project, but also others that joined this group. And for example, the Metropolitan Ticketing System also joined the group. So it was good to work with these people. So the idea was to firstly identify exactly what are the the main problems right now with the transport system in Lisbon, so we could exactly understand where to start fixing things. And the next phase was to identify a practical solution for this project. So what we came up was, basically because this project, the trips, is aims to develop solutions as a digital tools that will help everyone using the system. Our idea was to basically take advantage of what is currently available. So one of these things is the Karish app. So currently you can download from the App Store any of the two major app stores. You can download this app and get some basic information about the Karish service, like the bus arrival times and some information like that. It's a very basic yet structure, but the idea from us is to basically improve the app. So we also identified another project, European project as well, called FoxPop. And through this project, they would be able to actually change the app. So we joined forces to make this happen and worked together to identify exactly what are the technical requirements. And together, everyone together, we could identify some of the features that will come to the app in the next year. So one of these informations will be about the availability of the reps. So not all buses are currently accessible, and because of that, we need to know exactly which ones are accessible while traveling. So this is the information that we can provide to people while we are on our street in our daily commutes. The other information is about the bus occupation. So this will require some other steps in terms of technical infrastructure, but will be available as well. The bus stops accessibility will be also available, but this again, this will need some other structural work from the municipality and from other stakeholders to be available. So it will be available later. But other things are already possible to implement. So, for example, the next bus arriving is possible to know right now with the current IT infrastructure on Karish, and also the next stop where we should exit while traveling is also possible to implement on this system. So it is one of the things that will be available on the app. The other thing that we think that must be improved shortly as possible is the ticketing system. So it's true that we had some very strong progress in the last few years in Lisbon, from over 600 different monthly passes and tickets and other things. We come to just 2 monthly passes and 2 tickets, which is amazing. But there are some things about accessibility which are not yet available. So we want to make sure that everyone has access to the system and has access to the information they need to travel with these systems. And one of the things that we are going to recommend, because this will be a recommendation, and one of the thing is about the access to the information regarding the credits. So you can charge the card with credit, and then you can use it as you travel. So, but for this, you have to also have access to the amounts on these cards. So this is one of the things. The other one is about simplifying the monthly subscription system, so you can just buy or renew this subscription as simple as you wish. For example, through your website, which of course needs to be fully accessible, but also on machines while you travel. And these machines now also have to have accessible software. So the idea is to basically improve both ends to make sure that everyone can buy them as simply as they wish. So the machines itself, they need to have some improvements. So we also provide those informations to those who manage the system, so they can think about the current standards and what they should state as the future standards for the machines on site that actually can sell tickets and provide other information. So these are the two practical solutions. We want to make sure that everyone gets the information they need to travel in Lisbon, and to make sure that this is very simple for everyone. This is just a small presentation of the features that we are going to have on the Cadiz app. I want to make you sure that this is a mock-up, so basically this is not the final product. You will see it very differently when it comes up. But the idea is to basically, as you can see on the images, there are some images with small icons that have, for example, the wheelchair instead of a person walking. So this is more inclusive, so people feel more included on the process while you plan your journey. But also some icons for the ramps on the buses. It has icons to show when the bus stop has a shelter or not, and also has icons to show the occupation of each bus. So you can also decide which one you want to take based on the occupation. You also can provide feedback if there are too many passengers, too few passengers, or it is perfect. So you can also share that information as you already do with Google Maps, for example. So this is just a very short example of that. So also what we have learned from this experience, but because we have worked together for several months now, it's over 2 years now that we are working together to come to this moment. And one of the things is about the starting point. So at the beginning, you may find this as well if you start now, which is basically people don't have a way to actually communicate with the operators, so they will feel this lack of connection, and they will need to first start with sharing a lot of their problems and struggles with the systems, and then they can actually start providing a more useful feedback for you. So we have to be patient because this is the way it is. So the first thing we should do before is actually to improve communication. this is one of the methods, but we should also improve the other ways. And of course, we started this during COVID, so you may understand that we had to do everything online. So it was another challenge, but we could manage to do that. There is another thing that may or may not influence negatively the project. So the presence of the multiple entities may make it difficult because everyone has different timelines and different objectives, and they are not all very oriented to do this the very same thing. But there are some good things as well. The idea of working in a collaborative way and working together with the technical staff of the operators is it is a really good way to change things. So these two solutions are much more solid than some ideas based on guessing what is better or not, because they have the information from the passengers. Say that group they sent to you, they are actually passengers, so they were paid to be there, and they are working at the same level of commitments than everyone else on the meeting. So this is the very important part of the project. So there are some more advantages of this. It is one of the best examples from what we have done here, and this is what makes the final solution much more interesting than just guessing what people want or not. So there were some more moments where we actually had these comments like we thought that passengers were worried about something else, and they are worried about very practical things. So this is one of the best examples that we can give to you. So I think this is basically the conclusion of this presentation, and the next steps, of course, is providing all the documentation for the project, but also start working on the Kurdish app to be available next year. So then it will be updated with more functions, but the idea is to actually roll out the solution, and I hope some of you can try it when you come to Lisbon next year, and then you can tell us what you think about this and provide feedback. It will be also available on the app, and we also, of course, hope that people feel the overall experience much more accessible. So right now is not too bad, but it's not too good. So we want to actually make sure that you are going to feel much better now. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, get in touch.
Great work. Congratulations, Diogo and Lisbon. We will move to the next testimonial. It's Ibtisam Anunu. I understand that he will be on here. Welcome.
1, 2. Okay.
Yes.
How should I? Okay, perfect.
Oh man.
I know, I'll try it.
You know what I
This
will
one.
do?
Yeah, okay, perfect.
My colleagues have been telling me that I should put the pronouns in my signature in my email. And I've been saying, Anna, I will do it today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, night, I don't know. Well, I will actually talk about people that I've met. So the slide will turn, it doesn't matter, but it's only to share my work and all I've felt in the 1.5 years, actually. Well, I'm working with an destination in Brussels called AMT Concept, Access and Mobility for All. Since we worked with few people who has different type of disabilities, and every people has their own story with the public transport, and that was the point actually for the work. Whoa. It's when I'm telling the story, it's about a man who wants to see someone in downtown, and he wants to take the metro, the tram, and the elevator of the station doesn't work, and then he's late for her date. And we try to figure out how that kind of issue will not come back at every how we say that, déplacement? This trip, of course. So the problem we solved is many problems of mobilities, but through the application. And here some pictures of the templates only. We try to solve that lack of information. So for example, the elevator doesn't work, or an information doesn't get to the STIB application. And the point is that every disabled person that we worked with doesn't use actually the phone or the application. So that was a huge challenge for us to develop some tools for them in the application. So we discussed with the STIB, so the Transport Public authorities. And then, for example, so you can see the work, we had many mapping. So we started from a station, like the guy who wants to see the girl in downtown, and he's stuck in the station. So we have many details. For example, so you can see the work through the templates. And then for the Schumann station, you have the station, the train station and the metro station, and you need to reach both. And that's how we wanted to complete actually the process, the trips for people who has disabilities. So we try to getting some map inside our head and outside, of course. So you can see a little bit of the work in mapping stuff. You have the highlights of the most accessible route. So we wanted to tell that disabled person can use the best way to get to their point. So again, you can see. And the difficulties is that most people in Brussels, disabled person, doesn't use actually all the time the train, the bus, and the metros. And we reach them and we get to the field, so we experience the real work inside. And every time they told me, yeah, you know, the information in the station doesn't fit with the reality on the application. So we wanted to we wanted to centralize their experience and the work that we try to do through the application, the template, of course. So you can see many pages that we've worked on the accessibility, on the ergonomic essential side of the application, because many doesn't use the phone, at least the application of the STIB. So you can see many of them with few highlights, and some tools that already exist that we should fit with the application. And it's really simple, like the vocal software or the Falk. So you have it like this. I'm just I'm working on it. And for myself, I learned to work with their needs. So even we are on the field and we wanted to eat something or just have a bit rest to continue the process to work. And it was kind of thinking and discussing with people. And the process of the trust, because many of them doesn't want to share their feelings or their habits because they may be ashamed. But that was the mainly point, was the process of the trust, actually, to work together for a year. So you can see sometimes we just connect through eating and sharing of our work. We hope, of course, that Steve will use our requirements that we've developed. One of them is like recentering some information for the evaluators in every station in Brussels, but not in real time, so maybe next year. Yes, so this is the team, so I'm really attached of everyone because they have many different stories to tell, and I think it's more human. It's a more human way to develop some application for them, because even they don't use it, they will do it for others who's willing to visit Brussels, and of course using the transport public. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibtisam. Congratulations. Let's move on to video testimonials. And we are starting with Marjolein Skippers, correct? Or Ines? I messed up, right? So wait, we're going for the videos first? Yeah, sure. We have sound? We are waiting for the sound, correct? Yes, just a second.
Getting around is easier than ever, but not for everyone. Thousands of people have trouble accessing and operating the new technologies from the mobility revolution. The Inclusive Digital Mobility Project, Indimo, is working to make all forms of transport inclusive, secure, and accessible for everyone. Through co-creation with citizens and policymakers, as well as the operators, developers, and engineers of digital mobility solutions, we developed the Indimo Toolbox, a set of guidelines and tools to help design and evaluate inclusive, intuitive transport solutions, while also ensuring digital security and the protection of personal data. To make sure the toolbox is universal and fits the stakeholders' needs, we've been testing it with 5 pilot projects in Madrid, Antwerp, Emilia-Romagna, Berlin and Galilee from January 2020 to December 2022. Let's hear from those involved in the pilots.
Het was echt fantastisch om samen te werken met de Indimo-partners die vanuit verschillende landen in Europa kwamen, maar toch allemaal hetzelfde doel voor ogen hadden. Mobiliteit toegankelijker en inclusiever te maken voor iedereen.
We hebben onze oplossing ontwikkeld met co-creatie, dat wil zeggen met blinden en slechtzienden samen hieraan gewerkt. We zijn met hen vaak op stap geweest om de app te testen, vervolgens een feedback te verzamelen en gebruik maken van de feedback en een volgende versie van de app te ontwikkelen.
En met dit hulpmiddel kan je jezelf toch een beetje veiliger voelen in het verkeer en een beetje zekerder zijn van jezelf.
האפליקציה ספקרון פותחה בשיתוף פעולה עם קיאן, ארגון פמיניסטי ערבי.
ساعد المشروع على رفع الوعي عند شريحة النساء العربيات والشباب لضرورة وأهمية استعمال الطرق البديلة للتنقل واللي هي بتعود بالفائدة بدون شك على فرص العمل، فرص التعلم، فرص تطور المجتمع بشكل عام.
تطبيق سفاركون فتح قدامي فرصة كثير كبيرة لما كنت بدي أدور على محلات شغل وأطلع من دير حنا لبلاد ثانية أشتغل فيها، فهو أعطاني حل كثير هوين وكثير سهل وساعدني إني أصل لمحلات شغلي بسهولة.
We've learned about the importance, but also the challenges in creating accessible apps, taking into consideration the culture differences, the language barrier, and the gender divide. It's not enough for an app to be accessible, the service must be accessible as well.
האפליקציה עוררה הרבה עניין בקרב מקבלי ההחלטות. אני שמח שאפילו משרד התחבורה כרגע מעוניין לפתח את האפליקציה ולהשתמש בה במסגרת התוכניות שלו לשיפור התחבורה והניידות בקרב יישובים וערים במגזר הערבי בישראל.
Queremos ayudar a las personas a cubrir sus necesidades, sobre todo con respecto a la comida saludable, sin que la falta de movilidad sea un impedimento para ellas.
Hemos vivido en primera persona todo lo que es un proceso de co-creación desde el principio hasta el final. El contexto ha sido muy fluido y creativo y hemos aprendido mucho unos de otros.
La percepción que hemos tenido, gracias a la valoración positiva de algunas usuarias, ha sido que hemos podido efectivamente hacer más accesible la plataforma.
Women caregivers' needs are still undervalued. The new digital mobility services need to deal with the current issues of other public modes of transport. Concerning the Universal Design Manual, in Berlin we implemented an emergency button in case of a physical and sexual attack to a woman or more general help.
Indimo-Projekt war aus meiner Sicht sehr nützlich. Eine derartige Entwicklung von Hilfsmitteln für die Nutzung eines Fahrdienstes würde sicherlich nicht von den Marktteilnehmern selbst entwickelt werden.
Sicuramente è un progetto che ha dato tanto in termini di innovazione, digitalizzazione, inclusione e coesione sociale. In un territorio periferico come quello di Monvidoro, un comune che ha tantissime attrattive, che però ha anche tante criticità legate ai trasporti, legate alla mobilità.
Oggi chi vive nelle aree rurali non sempre ha facile accesso a servizi che si trovano invece nelle aree urbane. Il locker digitale consente a tutti i cittadini di Monvidoro di sentirsi parte di una società più connessa digitalmente.
These pilot projects have gone a long way in using new mobility technologies to make everyone's lives easier. Curious to find out more? Look us up on indimoproject.eu.
Congratulations to the Indimo project. Yes, we can move on. Danielle? Yes, so now is the time. Now, for Ines and Marjolein to come on stage.
Everybody still alive and awake?
Hey!
Okay. Good evening. My name is Marjolein. I'm working as a policymaker in the city of Tilburg, and this is my colleague. Hi, Ines. And we make it. We are going quite quickly because, well, it's dark already, so we'll do it quick. In 2016, can I have the presentation also? No. not yet.
In 2016, the presentation was prepared. and it's
Already?
about to arrive.
Yeah. Yes, it's coming.
I see them scrambling.
Yes.
Fine.
Welcome to Tilburg, yes. Well, in 2016, we wrote our SUMP, our Sustainable Urban Mobility Plan. And in that plan, we set a goal, being 100% accessible. But what does it mean? We thought mainly about physical problems, the wheelchairs, the blind people, etc. And we didn't think of the digital aspect until Dignity. So it was an eye-opener for us. And now, the next one, yes. It's really quick. Mobility poverty. It's a relatively new subject for us. In this group, many people know already quite a lot about it. But in the outer world, not so many people. It's relatively new. It's a complex problem. We heard it earlier today. We talk about many kinds of vulnerable groups. And the digital accessibility is within all these vulnerable groups. So it's complex. You find them everywhere. And that makes it so hard to reach them. As a pilot city in this Dignity project, we had 4 core activities. And now there are 4 sheets with our 4 core activities. The first, policy making, of course. I'm a policy maker, so that's my job. And it was quite complex to have mobility goals in social policy and the other way around. So social goals in mobility policy. So we are bridging 2 departments in our organization. That's complex. For example, today we are working on our public transport agenda, and it's quite hard to do it, but well, it will take time. More and more people are getting to the problem, so we are getting there. And we heard also earlier today, we introduced not just digital solutions, but also non-digital ones for a digital problem. Like this one, the mobility market. A lot of people don't feel confident using public transport because of the need of a digital card. You check in with it, you pay with it, you check out with it, and especially elder people who don't know, who are not used to using public transport, they feel not confident. So what did we do? We just came to them. We organized the big bus, the public transport bus. We went to the bus stop with them and just have a tryout. And they got a gift. Normally you pay €7.50 for the OV chip card you see above. But these people who got to the mobility market, they got it for free. So it was something to come with us, and well, people were really enthusiastic about it. So it was quite a success. And then still more to go.
Yes, which one do I have to use? The green one. Okay. Hi, I'm Ines Rasterwak. I'm the project manager Dignity, and I'm not a researcher or a scientist. I'm just a doer. So what we organize...
Ooh, that's slow.
Yeah, but that's also necessary. So what did we do? We organized and we created a mobility providers overview, an analog one, and a help desk, because using the Dignity methodology, like the scenario building, inclusive design workshops, interviews, etc., we found out, or the elderly organizations told us, that although some of them do have digital skills, there is also a group who doesn't have them, and they also said that the urge is to have that personal contact, so that is really necessary. And also analog information about, for example, the mobility providers. So what did we do? We talked with a welfare organization. They have a help desk. So we implemented the mobility questions and mobility overview in their help desk. So now we spread out all over the town and all over the welfare and elderly organizations this leaflet and with a phone number on it. So we hope this will help for this target group. It's a really concrete one. And the next one is core activity 4, is also a non-digital one. It's about the bike school. The bike school for migrant women, but also for the newcomers and the refugees who are in large group still coming in Europe and also to us in our town. And as you know, the Netherlands is a cycling country. So cycling is a cheap way to get from A to B, and we held some workshops with the migrant women, but also with organizations who organize those cycling lessons, the cycling teachers, but also several policymakers as well. And then we found out that there is a urgency in learning how to cycle first before they learn to use digital applications, as you mentioned before. Now it's the time first to do this. It's like the Maslow pyramid. You first need to survive before you can go further. But to empower the migrant women, in this case, to ride a bike and to increase their independence, we need to increase the number of cycling lessons and the number of teachers. So we are now organizing a central coordination point. We are exchanging information and experiences and knowledge between the several organizations. And right now, as we speak, I mean this morning and tomorrow, I have a deadline to embed, to bring our recommendation to our elderly men. So to embed in the mobility, but also in the social policy, this thing. So dignity and the dignity approach really helped us to get insights, like Marjolein said, in the problems the vulnerable groups have. And it gave us also the opportunity to create and try out some solutions so everyone can travel in Tilburg. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we are about 11 minutes away from the scheduled time of arrival. Reminds me of my last train trip to Paris. It was in a TGV. I know. Then I'm missing somebody? I am missing a testimonial. I'm so embarrassed. I did it again. Please, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
Well, I know.
I'm very sorry.
I know why.
Please.
Because I have no fancy video. I have no presentation. So my testimonial is just out of the blue.
Please, go ahead.
And I'm a bit nervous because I'm not used to speaking English, but I feel very comfortable in this group. So sorry for my mistakes. So we participated in the Dignity. Oh, yeah, sorry. We participated in the Dignity project because we are changing our model of offering public transport for more to a demand-driven model than it is now. And what I liked very much about the approach was the 3 levels we were working on, micro, meso, and macro level. And I noticed that agenda, also these 3 topics were present, so I think it's a good approach for such a project. So first, the micro level, it was very useful for me personally also to to learn more about the problem, about the barriers that people with restricted mobility face. Because honestly speaking, I was not confronted with it. So it was very useful to learn to the customer journey mapping and also through the focus groups what really the problems of these peoples were. But not only the micro level is important, also the meso level is very important. The market players, we talked about it. And actually in Flanders at this moment, it's a bit a problem because there's a lack of vehicles, adapted vehicles, and also a lack of drivers. Because the vehicles, there's always low emission zones. The new vehicles need to have also low emission. And also the drivers, there are some regulations on topics like language and so on. So it's difficult to find vehicles and drivers. So that's also an important thing, I think. And then I come to the macro level, the regulations. So there are many aspects and many governments who all have their priorities, not only on regulations, but also on budget. And I think there, maybe Flanders and Belgium is a special case, because we have, for some topics, we have 5 or 6 specific governments. So that's really a challenge to all the budgets that are separated in the different governments, to put them together for one goal. So that are all things that I found very interesting in the project. And also, which is maybe the most important of all, was the cooperation with all the other participants and all the other universities and so on. And also today, I find it very interesting to learn from the other projects, and you will hear from me soon.
So, let's have on stage the coordinators of the 3 projects. It's Imre and Sylvia, and where's Tali, please? And the question is very simple. I mean, obviously, please give us your last words. You can bring the microphone in. Because of the camera. Can we come here? It would be nicer. Not really? Okay. Can you hold the microphone? Yeah, come, just watch out, don't fall. Here. So, on camera. So before you give us your parting words, what are you taking home from this very intense, rich day?
Indeed,
from your project, everybody else's project. We have another mic here. One mic for everybody. And then they say there's no money. Look, one mic for everybody. What are you taking home?
I think we should keep it very short, since everybody is looking forward to the cocktails now. We had a very intensive day, and I'm really happy that we brought all these people together and 3 projects. And I think this is just the start. I mean, these 3 projects only laid the foundations and did some initial research, I would call it. And we still have many years, or maybe decades, but hopefully only years, to really reach the ultimate goal of making really all the digital and physical transport means, methods, modes accessible and inclusive. So there is still a lot to work on. And that's why we actually came with also joint recommendations from the 3 projects, but maybe I give the word now to
I think you read my notes. I concur on the basic message. This is just the beginning. We have such a long way to go. But what I like to see that, there's so many of us in here that we have we are on the same wavelength. And what I would like to leave the floor with is with an invitation to take this forward in future projects, initiatives, common exploitations, because we have a good base and it's a pity to let it fizzle out. So, open. We are open for business.
But it's difficult to come third, because I have to say exactly the same. I try to change wording, maybe, because it has been, for Dignity, 3 intensive years and very rich of insights and ideas and trying to find solutions. Today has been a very intensive day. Input from other 2 projects, equally rich. I mean, we are all on the same page. It's a contentment to have achieved something. I feel a kind of frustration now, because hearing from you, we could have done, much more. And it's all these exchanges just enriching. And as you said, we shouldn't finish here and should just start, right?
Yes.
So,
so let's create new opportunities.
Yeah.
I hear there are joint recommendations.
And to do so, indeed, we came with 5 joint recommendations, and maybe these can be also the like initiatives to start, continue the work together in the future. So the first one is to focus on users, to involve a wide range of stakeholders, users and non-users in particular, in the co-design of inclusive and accessible transport products and services. And I think this very much resonates with what you all actually found at the table discussions. Then maybe you can go with the second one.
We should focus on policy making. They have a very big part to play in this, on making it actually happen on the streets. So we need more interaction with policymakers. We need to real engagement when it comes to transport strategy, the SAMs. I know we featured in the latest report, National Transport Plan. We need to interact and be able to affect them.
Okay, so I have the industry, apparently. Well, we discussed today, it's not coming from nothing. We should prioritize accessibility and inclusion over market dynamics and find the business case for these new products and services and the market potential for more inclusion and accessible transport products and services. So.
And our 3 businessmen, women already gave some indications what is the good business case, so that's a good start. And then we would like to focus on, indeed, continuity, so let's not stop here at the end of these projects, but let's create a common European platform for accessibility and inclusiveness to act as a one-stop shop for inclusive co-design solutions. So let's bring all these results together, but also come up with new ones and also innovations and applications and best practice together. And the final one.
Wow, what comes after our projects? Well, what comes after our projects? This is a very big question, but I guess this is where this collaboration thing should come. We have the foundation, let's build on this momentum. Let's do not let it lie. We have an up-and-coming project cycle, like we should write proposals together, think about initiatives. Do not be afraid to reach out to each other. We have been amazing sister projects. I have to admit, this cluster has been the most united cluster of all the projects I have been involved so far, and it's amazing what we have achieved. So let's keep it going.
Same here. I can say the same.
And maybe good luck to us finishing all the remaining deliverables. But
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Maybe this is the moment also to thank for the organizers for making this conference really a great event.
Yes.
And Pedro.
Our moderator, Pedro, as well.
Next time.
Thank you.
Next time, don't get a shitty moderator. You know.
No, you have been amazing. Thank you so much.
If I mean, it's your project and you get the last words, but there is a platform for electromobility. There is an alliance for freight and whatever. There are all sorts of platforms. Why isn't there a platform for inclusive mobility? Why is it that the European Passenger Federation and the European Disability Forum and ENIL, the European Network for Independent Living, why do they have to often fight alone for inclusive mobility? And I'm pretty sure that the Polis as a network of citizen regions committed to transport innovation, and this is transport innovation at its best. I mean, we could really push forward some sort of lobbying platform for inclusive mobility, and I'm sure we wouldn't be alone, and that there would be huge receptiveness of several policymakers here at the Brussels bubble and beyond. So this recommendation is really, really interesting, yeah?
Thank you, Pedro.
So
yes.
With this, you want to invite all your partners for drinks.
Yes, drinks.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
let's leave it there.